Hello coaches, in this video we are going to cover 4-4 transfers. Now let's look at academics. First, for NCAA qualifiers. They need a 2.0 transferable GPA, completed at least 6 credit hours the preceding term, and then meets progress towards degree requirements. For those who were deemed non-qualifiers for NCAA eligibility, they need to have attended the most recent 4-year college for at least 3 semesters as a full-time student, completed at least 48 semester hours of transferable degree credit, including at least 36 semester hours from the most recent 4-year college, a 2.0 transferable GPA, completed at least 6 credit hours the preceding term, meet progress towards degree requirements. For the asterisk, a non-qualifier who transfers from an international institution shall be immediately eligible for financial aid, practice, and competition, provided the student athlete meets the qualifier transfer requirements. Generally, a transfer student from a 4-year institution shall not be eligible for intercollegiate competition at a member institution until the student has fulfilled a residence requirement of 1 full academic year at the certifying institution. Exceptions to the residency requirement are discontinued academic program, military service exception, discontinued non-sponsored sport exception, 2-year non-participation or minimal participation exception, non-recruited or non-scholarship student exception. Also included is the one-time transfer exception. With this, the student is a participant in a sport other than baseball, basketball, or football, or men's ice hockey. The student has not transferred previously from one foreign institution unless in previous transfer the student athlete received an exception mentioned earlier. At the time of transfer to the certifying institution, the student would have been academically eligible had he or she remained at the institution from which the student transferred, except that he or she is not required to have fulfilled the necessary percentage of degree requirements at the previous institution. And if the student is transferring from a NCAA or NAIA member institution, the student's previous institution shall certify in writing that it has no objection to the student being granted an exception to the transfer residence requirement. If an institution receives a written request for a release from a student athlete, the institution shall grant or deny the request within 7 business days. If the institution fails to respond to the student athlete's written request within 7 business days, the release shall be granted by default and the institution shall provide a written release to the student athlete. The Big 12 Intra-Conference Transfer Rule. A student athlete who transfers directly or indirectly from one conference member institution to another and was provided a written offer of athletically related financial aid must forfeit a season of competition if NCAA transfer regulations require the student athlete to complete an academic year in residence before being eligible to compete. Some exceptions to the sit one, lose one rule are exceptions listed under the NCAA transfer rules, for example, the one-time transfer rule, and then if a non-scholarship student athletes who were never provided aid.